everyone, I'm Jen Eggert of Lucky Kids Ask an Autism Mom, and you can join me every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern to meet other parents, learn tips, tricks, and listen to the advice of some of our amazing experts we have on our show. I can't wait to dive into tonight's topic with you. We are actually talking about the importance of speech and communication. We have Jelena with us. I am so excited to talk to her. But first, a quick message from our sponsor. As you can see, this week we are discussing again the marble maze. This thing, guys, I'm not joking when I say it is one of the most affordable, compact, calming tools that you can own. It folds up real small. It's very affordable. You can take it anywhere. It is silent. It is nice and soft for those sensory seekers. It is amazing. So check it out on our Lackey Kid website. Okay, now back to the show. I'm so excited. Like I said, Jelena is joining us today to talk about speech and communication. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jen. Hi, everyone. Hi.
So, Jelena, why don't you tell me about yourself and what brought you to speech and the passion you have for speech and language?
Okay, so okay, my name is Jelena Vilensky, and I'm a speech pathologist for almost 20 years now. Um, I love kids. That's how it all started. And so my specialty is pediatrics. I focus with, 0 to 5 population, and with newborns, it's feeding, and older, it's various delays, disorders, and general developmental stuff. The experience that I've had has been working with numerous early intervention agencies in New York. This is where most of my work is, and I'm a top evaluator for about 4 agencies. And for the past decade, my focus has been evaluating kids. So I actually go into the home and I evaluate a child and I decide if there is an issue, in fact, happening there. Is there a problem? And then whether I either recommend or do not recommend therapy for the child. So I've seen probably close to 10,000 children at this point in my career. So usually within 5 to 10 minutes, I could tell what's going on. So I'm hoping I can help you through some of my experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jelena. First, I want to get into, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand, the importance of speech. I mean, it has value. Can we talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, what happens if the child does not speak? Let's look at it from this edge. Plain and simple, the child can't get his needs and wants met well, right? So why don't we use the example of a boy named Maddie, who is a toddler and who has no words. That way, some of you can relate to it. By the way, can you guys drop in the chat who has no words here, whoever's listening? I'd love to know who is struggling here and whose children are not speaking. Let me know. So back to Maddie. If Maddie cannot speak, he can't explain his emotions well, right? So he'll cry for everything instead of words. And then you as the mom, you need to guess what is happening. You hand him things, you wait for protest or you wait for acceptance. And what if you want something that's not next to you? Then Maddie's really stuck, and you're stuck feeling helpless next to a crying child. So this is definitely very frustrating for both the parent and for Maddie. Is anybody in these shoes? Can you guys let me know? Just drop it in the chat.
So, any of you, and I know some of you waiting or some of you watching do have some problems. Jennifer, I see your hand is up. Jennifer Robinson, you are struggling with speaking. I know Jason is putting it out there, guys. His 3-year-old is struggling. She's nonverbal. No words at 7 years old for Elfrida Haynes.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Elfridia. And hi, Amber. Hi, Jennifer. I'll answer some of your questions. Let's just go through some of the basics, okay? So basically, what else is happening if the child is not speaking? Back to Maddie. If Maddie does not speak, he obviously can't say, I miss you, I love you, right? The words we want to hear from our children. Maddie's social relationships with other kids suffer. Maddie can't say, I want to play with you. What else happens? Maddie can't use a variety of verbs like go to ask to go outside, or sit when he wants to read a book with mommy, or bathe if he wants to take a bath. So you can't really request routine activities, hence the importance of speech, right, guys? Maddie cannot use routine words like more to ask for more. So how do you really know? He can't ask for help. He can't say help. He can't say thank you. He can't say, he can't request to open something. So he'll whine, he'll cry. You're getting a lot of crying. That's how they're communicating if they're not speaking. Maddie won't be able to ask questions, so he can't get answers to what he wants to know. It's not possible to have a back and forth conversation with Maddie a lot of the time. So Maddie spends time by himself. So this affects his social development, right? Maddie can't express that he's tired or wants to go outside. Again, whining, crying. With time, this whining and crying turns into behavioral issues, which some of the children are experiencing, I'm sure. When family members in the household talk about yesterday's or tomorrow's events, he can't be involved in family discussions. So yes, speech is super important.
I remember my personal experience with speech was my 18-month-old screaming because she couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
She didn't know. So everyone called her the screamer, and we didn't really know why until about a month or two later. I got her doctor's appointment, and that's when we looked at the chances of it being autism, which of course it was. But I mean, folks, you know your kids, and Jelena, I'm seeing in the comments lots more families saying that their children are nonverbal, limited verbal, 12 and 14-year-old, 8-year-old.
I see. Hi, Rosie. Hi, Jessica, Alfredia, Michelle, Amber, Beth. Yes, it's difficult what you guys are facing right now, and it's frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating. And we just talked about the importance of speech. Let's talk about communication and how important it is for little Maddie to be able to communicate with his mom, with his teachers.
Sure. So, I mean, communication has two forms, right? Some of you know this. It's called verbal and nonverbal. So making sounds, crying, exclaiming, using words, that's verbal stuff, the things that you actually have to produce with your mouth. Now, the nonverbal stuff is the pointing, it's the pulling mom, it's the shaking of the head for no, it's the nodding. That's the nonverbal communication. So every child has some form of communication. With the earliest form of it, you probably know this. Put it down if you know this one. What's the earliest form of communication?
Let me see.
Starting from when you're born, literally coming out of
crying.
Yes. And it's communication. So as the child cries, mom is trying to figure out, okay, what does he want? Does he want this?
I actually never thought of that.
Yes, Jennifer, cry. So then the child learns to reach and point and pull. The nonverbal stuff adds on, right, in addition to crying. And then you have the babbling, which is verbal. And then you have the gibberish, which is advanced verbal. And then after that, words come in. Typically, gibberish comes in before words. So back to our example of Maddie, who has no words, right? So how is he communicating? He's using nonverbal communication. He's pointing, he's pulling mom to what he wants. And it's not very efficient, right? Because he can't really explain everything he wants. A lot of your children are experiencing this. They're pointing, they're pulling you, and what if things are out of their reach, or the things they want are outside the house? So what's going to happen if they can't really point to it? They'll cry. So there's your 18-month-old reason for crying. Crying gets worse and worse, and there's a lot more they want to express the older they get, and a lot more is exactly out of their reach. There's a lot more happening, especially when they start walking. So temper tantrums start and behavioral issues start if their nonverbal communication is not really getting them what they want. Additionally, self-esteem suffers because if the child sees other kids getting, say if the child is in the daycare already and they're not really, communicating, that's their self-esteem suffers because the other kids get what they want, they ask for them, and he can't. So he feels like, okay, others are getting things they want, I'm not, maybe something is wrong with me. Also, if Maddie's not communicating effectively with words, he'll have a hard time making friends at his daycare and then his pre-K. So there you go into the social isolation situation, which is frustrating for the child. And again, behavioral issues get even worse at that point. So I get a lot of kids biting and hitting at that age in school, in pre-K, and evaluations start at that point, even if they didn't start before. So yeah, that's the importance of communication.
And I just want to kind of, we didn't really touch on this yet, but I want to say there are other forms of communication other than verbal and nonverbal. I mean, there's sign language, there is PECS, and those are all considered forms of communication, correct?
Yes, correct.
So there are, I know some of our families use PECS. I know some use the speech ProQ, I think it's called.
So yeah, sign language is definitely helpful to learn. Not everyone has access to it, but you can learn some things literally online, just basic signs, and that's definitely a way to communicate. And PECS is great for a lot of children that have difficulty even with their hands. They could just press, they could hold things. It's definitely a way to communicate as well. Yes.
And it really, especially with younger children, I find that they take to it quicker than even some with speech. I mean, Riley was given all three forms and she took to sign language. We had this little app we would turn on and it was kids' songs to sign language. And she would sit there and then one day all of a sudden she turns it on. She sits beside our brand new puppy and I hear a voice and I look over and I'm like, wait, no one's in the room. But Riley, she doesn't talk. My mother-in-law walked in and goes, who's talking? I'm like, shh. And we both looked and we got a video of us both in awe of this child talking in this puppy who doesn't talk. And she's singing.
Wow.
And even now, at 8 years old, she prefers to sing rather than talk. But it's communication.
It is communication.
And it's advanced because she has to put these words together in a funny way to make it work.
Yep.
So let's talk about the milestones for speech and where our children should be, because I know some of us sit here going, well, I don't know where my 2-year-old should be at. Should my 2-year-old be at 20 words or 200 words?
Sure. Let's go through that. Okay. So typical milestones. By 12 months of age, you expect babbling. Okay. So ma, 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 ba, 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 da, 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 ha, 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 sounds like that. By 18 months average, typically developing child has about 15 words, and they usually have 6 basic consonants. The 6 basic consonants are m and n, the nasal sounds, the b and the p, they're called plosives, and d and h. So those are the first ones that typically come in. So every child is different, obviously, so others may be there in addition or instead of, but that's what the typical child has. By 24 months, you want to hear 50 words minimum, and at 24 months, 2-word combinations start. So remember, this is average, typical. So you'll have children combining 2 words together before 2 or way after 2. There's a wide range of what is normal, okay? But this is just average. At 2.5 years old, you want to hear some phrases, 3-word combinations. Some children already do have sentences, so 5-word combinations. And by 3 years old, conversational speech is expected. So easy dialogue. Mommy, come here, sit down. I want some bread. And they're able to respond to your questions. They understand you and they can reply correctly by using sentences. So yeah, by 3 years old.
Perfect. Now, what would I do if Riley were back at 18 months again? What would I do to help her? Because I've seen she's missed these speech milestones.
So if she's 18 months and she has no words.
Yes.
Okay, so you would basically you backtrack all the way to the beginning. And first of all, I'd like to assess the child to really see what they're able to do and then work with that. So in other words, some children do babble or make some kind of sounds at 18 months, even though they're not speaking, right? So you'll hear ma 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 ma, or ba 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 ba, or ha 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 ha, but no words. So the therapist typically works, or mom at this point, if there is no therapist, can work on whatever the sounds child already has. So it's important to catch the child while they're producing their ma ma ma, even though, say, they're playing with their toy, whatever, I'm holding a phone, and they're ma 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 ma. So get in front of their face and literally go ma ma ma. So this is called motherese. Get them, imitate what they're saying. This is how you stimulate the child's attention, and they're looking at you because you just repeated what they did. If you got their attention, you could introduce another sound. So when you have imitated ma 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 after them, and then you can add another one, ba ba ba. Look what I'm doing. You could bring your attention, the child's attention, to your mouth by pointing at your chin like this with your finger. So you basically build on the sounds the child already has. Okay, that's really the most important one. Then you can add new ones. I will go a little bit towards the end. I'll go into specific exercises, how to stimulate basic sounds.
Okay. Now we have a minute, so I want to jump over to the chat section. If you have any questions for us, please put them down now. While we're waiting for questions, let's go back to.
So I can discuss. You want me to answer questions right now, or go into explaining how to stimulate vowel and consonant sounds? Because I could do it.
Give me 2 seconds to answer this question.
Sure.
Amber Beth, my son is nonverbal. I have 2 kids in speech therapy since they were 2 years old because they were also nonverbal. Amber, you've done this. You know you can keep doing this. Amber has been with us from the beginning pretty much. Amber, let's post it in group chat, or in the Facebook group chat. And what I'll do is I'll actually go in later and I will tag Jelena so that you and Jelena can have a private conversation.
Sure, absolutely.
Jelena wants to help you guys figure out if you need where the next step is, kind of, because there's so many people saying do this, do this, do this. You have to look at what's most important for your child.
If anyone wants a private 30-minute consult, our company Talkaro Academy is offering them right now. So drop in the chat "want free consult" and we'll get back to each one of you to offer you that.
And guys, what we'll do is at the end of the show, Jason will actually post the links like we always do, so that you'll see the Talkaro Academy and you can kind of check out what they do. It's Jelena and Jennifer together. You'll meet Jennifer next week. And we'll kind of go into what they have and what they're offering and how you guys can get a free, I was going to say referral. Free consult. Sorry. It's been a long day.
Okay.
So, Jelena, do you want to talk to us about how we can start getting those sounds?
Yes,
and things we can do?
Okay, so you guys, first thing that you could try to do is get them to inhale and exhale in a more controlled way. So we don't even realize, but we all talk on exhalation, right? So we don't even think about it. But in order to speak verbal, for verbal communication, you do that on exhalation. So as an example, I'm going to do it right now. An inhale. And then I speak as I'm exhaling, right? So the child needs to be able to control that exhale. So that blowing is one of the exercises to get that going. And I'm going to show you one exercise you could do with your kids. Just take a piece of paper, rip off a little piece, just rip it into a few more pieces, put it in the palm of your hand, and then you could announce a blowing game. So Maddie, let's play a blowing game. Look what we're going to do. And then you accentuate this. And then you blow, you exhale, right? That's your exhalation. And then you put the papers back on your hand and you offer your hand to the child. Tell them, now you do that. And then you show it again, okay? You take a breath, do it slowly so they see what you're doing. And then you blow it off. So that's the first very, very basic exercise that can be done on a daily basis, okay? You could blow papers to each other. You could blow cotton balls to each other. It could be just a game, but really what you're practicing is control of inhalation, exhalation. So that's number one. Step number two, the next level up, is working on open mouth sounds, so vowels. Okay, if they're not speaking, we're going back to the beginning. What do babies do? Vowels. Ah, oh, cooing, right? So how to stimulate that? You say, let's play singing games. We're going to sing today. This is how we're going to do it. And you can add clapping into it, like this. Ah, and you'll get their attention. And then you go again, even if you're silly, don't worry about it. Ah, and then you can go through the whole scale, do whatever you want. So that's the ah. Now you could do a uh-oh. Uh-oh, the open mouth sound, right? I'll show you a game with that. Give me a second.
And most kids love this uh-oh sound because then they realize what it means and it becomes a game. I drop it, uh-oh.
And you got their attention. So take any object. I'm just going to use a pen for today's purposes. And you drop it and then you go, uh-oh. And then you pick it up again and you repeat it as many times as the child is paying attention to you, okay? Accentuate it. In other words, bring their attention to it. Uh-oh, do it slowly. Okay, do it many, many times. Then give the object to your child. See if they'll do the same. See if they'll copy the oh. You could do the E, which is also an open mouth sound. So we could do a police car. E. So really games with open mouth sounds, okay? Any open mouth sounds are fine. Come up with your own. Make it fun, be silly, and see if the child even attempts to copy you. If they open their mouth even as you're doing the E and they're going, but no sounds come out, praise them. It's very, very important. If you see any attempt to even look at you, praise them. Tell them, good looking, great job. You're looking at me. If they attempt, but they're completely off, say you're doing E, 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 and they're doing say, great trying. So you definitely praise. You never say, oh, don't do that. That's wrong. Do this. Okay?
You don't want them to shut back down, folks. And that's exactly what Jolena wants them to keep open to everything out there. So
I don't hear you. I lost you.
Oh, you don't hear me? Okay. Can anyone else not hear me?
Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Me? Guys, can you write down in the chat if you hear me? So I'll continue until Jen figures out her audio. Do you guys hear me? Put in the chat. Okay, Jason hears me, Jennifer hears me. Okay, good. So until Jen figures it out, let me tell you the next step, okay? So first one is inhalation, exhalation control. Remember the game, okay? Cotton balls and pieces of paper. Second activity is vowels. So any singing games with ah, oh, oo, e, I, those types of sounds, okay? Third step, the one above that, is consonants. So the 6 consonants that you work on, remember I mentioned them before. M, N, nasal, that's nasal stuff. M, N, write it down, okay? Then you have B, P, that's plosive, so air forms in your mouth, pressure, and then B and P. And then you have the 5th and the 6th are D and H. So those sounds are the early words that kids get, right? The mama and the dada and the hi and the bye and the baba and nana for banana. Those are the early sounds. How to stimulate them? For example, how do you teach the word hi? It's a simple hi, simple early word. I'll give you one game. Put 5 or 6 toys, fuzzy animals toys, in the child's bedroom. And each time you come into the room with the child, say hi to each of the animals. Hi, bear. Hi, bunny. And wave. And see if the child copies the waving. And you could bring their attention to your mouth again. Look, Maddie, we're saying hi. Hi, bear. Hi, baby. Hi, Foxy. And that's how you could stimulate the okay? Another way to stimulate it is literally take your hand. Take the child's hand. And then say right next to your hand, like next to the child's hand, like this. As you're doing that, they'll feel your breath on their hand. This could prompt them, first of all, that'll get their attention. And second of all, maybe they'll attempt to do the same. So you can then offer them your hand and say, you try that. You go. Okay, you can actually do that with a lot of sounds, especially like b, p, you could definitely do that with. So try that on your hand now. B and p. As you're producing these sounds, air hits the hand, so that will get the child's attention. And then you can give them your hand, and you could ask them, why don't you do the same? You do b, p, b, p. Okay, you could do the same thing. So how do you stimulate b in another way? Why don't we stimulate it with the by? So the same 6 animals in the child's bedroom. Each time you're leaving the room, so this is a daily exercise, say bye to these animals, okay? Together with the child. If you can hold the child or you're holding the child's hand, I'm not either way. Bye, bunny. And then you could point to who you're saying bye to. Bye, Foxy. Bye, baby. Okay, so this is how you would be stimulating the b sound. Remember, please, repetition is key. So in order for the child to start speaking, they need to hear the word in the same context hundreds of times. Yes, for some children, it'll be 10 to 20 times until they repeat. For others, hundreds. Okay, but it has to be in the right context. You can't just like play with a pen and say bye, or, you know, play with a piece of paper and say bye. There's no context in it. So context is important. Saying words in the right situation. Okay, I think Jen is trying to connect with us, but let's answer some questions now. Okay, let me go.
Jelena? Okay, can you hear me?
Jen, I don't hear you.
You still don't hear me?
No, I don't hear you, but okay, back to answering some questions. Let me scroll to the beginning of the chat, and I'm going to start with the beginning. So for nonverbal kids, you would be starting with the first step, the inhalation control, any blowing activities. Bubbles is great. Okay, so if you have bubbles, you can order bubbles on Amazon. It gets their attention, and you're showing what you're doing. Then you offer them to do the same. If they cannot do that, you keep on trying, don't give up, but you move on to the next step with the vowels. All right, after the vowels, that's the next, the 6 consonants. Okay, going down in questions. Guys, put in your questions into the chat. I will get to each question. If not today, I will come back to this chat and I will answer.
Can you hear me?
Rosie Clement, my 2-year-old son is going into speech therapy for 4 years, but I don't see much progress. What do I need to change? In order for me to answer that question, I need to know, unless you drop it in the comments right now, what is he able to do? Does he have nonverbal communication? Is he pointing? Is he babbling? Is he producing any sounds? Is he vocalizing in any way? Are you getting ah, ooh, ee? Can you drop that in the comments now, Rosie? Okay, I'm not getting an answer from Rosie, but basically, if your child is in the same shoes, follow the steps. Okay, the inhalation, exhalation control activities, then vowel work, open mouth sounds, singing games. Okay, and then the consonants. So the b and the p and the h and hi and bye and repetition, and praising. Let's see, next question. Angela saying handing my kids a pen or anything is asking for trouble. Yeah, so I just use this as an example. Don't use a pen. Use anything that they have next to you. It could be something small, something soft, you know, a bear. And then you pick up the bear and you drop it and you go, uh-oh. Okay, next question.
Can you hear me, Jelena?
Jessica, any tips to help with reading words? So reading is not my specialty because I specialize with kids up until 5 years of age. But I can get back to you on this. I will do some research and get back to you, Jessica, okay? Next question. Jennifer Robinson, my daughter is nonverbal, but she has sounds, not words. Jennifer Robinson, what sounds does she have? I need to know that in order to help you build on the sounds.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're just going to take her off, guys. Jelena will be right back. I promise. We are having some technical issues for some odd reason tonight. So give me 1 minute. I am trying to bring Jelena back. We will not stop the show until we have to, or we get her back. And if that happens, then I will work out something, guys. You know me. She'll come back to the group chat and work it out if she cannot get it to work. So sorry, I pay attention. It looks like I'm paying attention to my phone. I'm not. I'm trying to fix the show for you guys. You should know me. I don't like changes in plans. I'm like Riley, so I'm a little, okay, what am I going to do? But it looks like we can't bring Jelena back tonight, unfortunately. I wanted her to talk about what she has coming up and what she's working on. Her and Jennifer, who is also in our chat, have something called Talkaroo Academy. Jennifer is an ABA, where we both know Jelena. There she is. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm not sure how much I was saying you guys heard.
They actually heard both of us. You're the only one who couldn't hear me. Everyone heard everything but me.
Okay, as long as they heard.
Okay.
Good.
So I just want to go back up to some of the questions to catch up real quick. Riley Eggert, hi, Mommy. I love you. I love you too, dear. Are you doing your homework? As you can see, guys, and I say it all the time, even something as simple as teaching my daughter how to communicate through Messenger, because I know kids who only talk through Messenger and text messages. That's the communication that they do. And you look at the way they write, and they write better than most grown adults.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have 3 teenagers, and that's somehow sometimes they communicate. 2 of them will sit across the table today in the morning having breakfast, and both on their phones.
Oh, no. My son and my husband do it. That's how they are having father-son talks. I'm like, seriously? Since when did a father-son talk come to texting across the room?
The new world.
Or my husband will be like, 1 minute, text. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, 1 sec. 2 minutes later, we get drinks. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's not so bad. Jennifer Robinson. I'm not sure if you caught her, Jelena. I just want to make sure. I think you caught that one.
I see.
Nonverbal, but she has sounds.
Okay, so Jennifer Robinson, your baby's babbling. Can you give me the sounds the baby is babbling with? This is very important because that's what you build on. If you could tell, is it ma ma ma, ba ba ba, pa pa pa, da da da?
Seemed like Jack, his very first sound, and he continues, is buh, buh, buh. Everything was buh.
So once you have the sound buh, you could build on that. For example, you could build to a word baba, which stands for bottle. Basically, you add another sound to the sound that the child already has. You don't start with new sounds. How do you?
Jack was all he wanted to say was ball. That's all he cared about.
No, yeah, yeah. So you would add words that sound similar to that particular word, and that's how you grow your vocabulary. If you want to elicit that baba, you basically need to have the bottle next to you frequently and name it. Oh, look, Baba, and bring their attention here, Baba. So first you figure out which sound, then you add another sound, see if there is a word that actually means something, and then you stimulate that by repeating it a lot in the right context. So you would even hold it next to your mouth, the object that you're naming, and as the child is reaching toward that object, right, they want it peripherally, they'll look at your mouth. So you'll go, look, Baba, Baba. They're still reaching here, but they're seeing your mouth. When they're ready, they're going to copy you. Okay? But at least they're forming the association between the word and the object, which is super important and comes in first before the child says Baba.
And another thing is, we kind of hit on it when we were talking about this is becoming people's main source of communication nowadays. one of the things that I did differently than most people I have met when Riley was little was the minute they said, yes, I think it's autism, I got one of those baby wearing devices.
Hmm.
I put her in it and I said, I'm going to talk until I drive you crazy. And
I
I did. Everything got explained.
yes.
Look, there's a dog, there's a tree, there's mommy's making snack. If you immerse your child, it's not just language is not just something you can pick and choose when you're going to use. It is a complete over your entire life. You have to communicate. I mean, if you don't, we'll be like little Maddie sitting alone, isolated, and upset.
So I can go over some other games and activities that mom could do at home with the child if we have time.
We can do one game.
Okay,
I want to
so
get at least one in.
so this game is part of the whole idea of involving your child into daily activities, into your daily chores in order to teach them language. So if you're doing laundry, literally the child is doing it with you. You're taking socks and shirts out of the dryer and you're naming them. Oh, look, sock. Ooh, shirt. Pants, and then you involve the child into categorizing. Let's put daddy stuff here, mommy stuff here, or you could categorize. So this sock goes with that sock. That's shirts go here, and you name the items as the child is touching them. Bring the items again to your mouth as the child is looking at the item. They're looking at you. So the associations between words and objects form this way. Involve them into washing dishes with you. Put them in front of you on a chair over the sink. Your hands over their hands. Wash that cup as you're saying it. Look, cup, washing cup. Touch that water. Ooh, water. Ooh, wet. So you're labeling everything using simple language, preferably one word at a time if the child is not speaking yet. So water, ooh, cup. Do a lot of exclamations, okay? So because they're simple to imitate. Oh, wow, and oh, and wee, and oh, and so on. That's usually comes in first in terms of imitation. What other activities? I mean, anything you do involve the child. You cleaning the house, you're using the mop, you do the mop, you hold it, name everything, and involve the child in every daily chore. So instead of you doing it and they're sitting in the corner playing with Legos, you involve them. So they're helping, they're learning, and they're learning to speak all at the same time. Even if they're not repeating what you're doing, what you're saying, don't worry. They're learning words. It's receptive language building, okay? They are connecting. Oh, this word goes with this object. So this is super important.
Thank you so much, Jelena. Now, unfortunately, we are at the end of our time. I let us go a little bit late because we had some issues and I really wanted to deal with everything. But before we say goodbye, like I was telling people when we were waiting for you to come on, you have a lot of exciting things coming up, you and Jennifer. I
Yes.
kind of alluded to who Jennifer was, and she'd be with us next week.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you let us know what you two are up to?
Okay, so Jennifer is a special educator, and we opened Tokoro Academy about a year ago because we're collaborating and we're doing a holistic approach with treating the child. So it's not just speech and language development, but it's cognition and it's sensory and it's play and it's behavioral stuff. So we're trying to target, help the child in every way. So this is from both of our specialties. This is how we found this perfect holistic solution. And so right now we're running 2 online programs for moms with toddlers. Basically, the first one is do-it-yourself program. We send you specific videos that we've put together from the very beginning to what you start with and moving on and making it harder and harder and harder. And we actually have cartoons that we've developed over the past year. We've worked with an animator and a singer and a composer, and these cartoons are 3 minutes long and they focus on one target word at a time. So for example, if the cartoon is boo boo, then you'll have, characters saying boo boo about 50 to 100 times during the cartoon. So again, that bombardment is that repetition that helps the child link the word with what it means, and hopefully they repeat. So we've had actually a lot of success with kids starting to repeat while watching our videos and cartoons. We just ran a few beta groups, meaning test groups, where children have been improving and progressing. So we're super happy. So this is one program. Second program it's called Do It with the Therapist. So basically we guide you along the way. It's a month-long program. We're starting that in June. Drop in the chat if you're interested to talk to us. We could tell you about our programs. Just put interested in programs in the chat and we'll contact you. Or if you want that free 30-minute consult, we're doing those as well. During this time in quarantine, you just want to give a lot of stuff for free, just to get the community going. Also, we're running Zoom classes, free Zoom classes for the month of May. If you want to participate in that with your child, toddler on your lap, literally, it's about 30 minutes every Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Drop in the chat, want Zoom classes, okay? And we'll sign you up. So yeah, this and a lot, we're giving out ebooks for free. Join our Facebook group. It's called Talkaroo Academy, TALKAROO, Talkaroo Academy Facebook group. We can discuss any and all questions you have in there as well as on here.
Okay, now I just am going through making sure I'm not missing anything. You know how I am, guys. Jason just posted the link for our Facebook group. I will have, for Talkaroo Academy, sorry. That is the link for Talkaroo Academy. So you guys can join and actually sit down with Jennifer and Jelena and talk about your concerns. Again, guys, if you have questions or concerns, even if you are watching this on a replay, if you are catching us on a replay, please, if you have questions, concerns, write them in the comments section. Jelena has kindly offered to come back and look at the comments later. I know some of you are busy, you're working, it's dinner time for many of you. So when you have time, come back, ask your questions, and we will make sure that Jelena gets them. And again, if you want any advice from her, if you want to do your free 30-minute consult, Talkaroo Academy, or sorry, you just said it to me for the first time, working with the therapist online.
Yeah, so it's the two programs, Do It Yourself or Do It with the Therapist. 2 online programs that we're currently running, and the free Zoom classes for the month of May. So those are all options. You could drop into the chat whichever one you want to learn more about. And
if you want to learn about all of them, just put Talkaroo in big letters.
Okay.
Like, as you can see, Jennifer did right there. I think that'll be the easiest way. If you are interested in all of their things, put Talkaroo Academy, because that way, I think most of the parents that are going to be interested in one thing, I think we kind of look and we're like, oh, but that ties to this, which ties to this. I might as well just do it all.
Yes, I mean, we were originally doing live events before Corona. So now we're just bringing all of this content to you guys online, because it's such a difficult time right now getting therapists and getting kids to go anywhere, right? So we're hoping you could benefit from what we can help you with.
Great. Well, Jelena, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you here. I can't wait. You will actually be back with us in 2 weeks.
Yes.
For more talk about speech. Next week, we will be with your partner, Jennifer, talking about ABA. It really ties well together, guys, how the two of them have made this whole Talkaroo Academy, which is more than just a show. It's more than just a class, a therapist. It is so much, and is all the culmination of both of their passion. And when you meet Jennifer next week, you'll understand she's the excited one in the comments section. These ladies are wonderful, guys. They're really outgoing, and they really want what's best for the children, which is, in this day and age, you don't know who wants what's best for your children.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you guys, these ladies are wonderful. I can't wait to meet with Jennifer next week and Jelena again in 2 weeks.
Same here.
Thank you all for watching. Jelena, again, thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, Jen. Thanks for hosting me and Tokoro Academy. And everyone, moms out there, thank you for listening. And virtual hugs to all of you, and hang in there. And I know it's super hard in general when kids are frustrated and they're not, exactly where you want them to be. Plus, we have this corona thing happening around us. So I wish for all of you, just be safe, be healthy. That's number one. And the rest will help you. Okay.
I just want to say, and I just thought of it during this, if your children is having a hard time with communication and you're finding it even more difficult because of Corona, tell us that, because that is an important cue. Are we
Yes.
just having language issues because we have language issues, or are we having language issues because we are in a time of great stress and the child can't handle both? I think it's important, Jelena, and I think you'll agree that you have to pinpoint when you lost the language.
Yeah.
So thank you all. I love you all. Remember, until next time, empower, support, and educate. Bye.
Bye.